They should just tear this down.
Ghosty fam, Amy here. Welcome to The Activity Continues, a podcast where three soul friends talk about all things paranormal. Ghosts, hauntings, psychics, movies and TV shows, especially The Dead Files, and other spooky and spooky adjacent things. We also like to interview people in the paranormal community, as well as past Dead Files clients and other interesting people. Sometimes we even tell your stories. I hope you enjoy the show. Alrighty, here we are. We're a little punchy, guys. We already have been talking for almost an hour doing our sideshow. So that was number 10 that we just did. And by the time this comes out, you will have heard that a month ago. But
if you forgot, go back and listen to it.
Yeah.
Or if you want to listen again.
I mean, you don't have to because
you don't have to.
They don't really connect to each other. But
I mean, if you're like, gosh, I really miss hearing them.
God, I wonder what they talked about.
I wonder what
here.
That discussion was. Go back and listen because
there are ways to find out.
There are.
Mm-hmm.
You'll just remember it's the one where AP is real silent at the beginning because Amy and Megan.
Oh my God, we were
just now.
Yeah, like this, kind of like
this
that.
Is why I was giggling over here.
I was like, I honestly thought something was wrong with AP because she hadn't talked. I'm like, are you okay? She's like
smiling.
There's no time for me to talk.
Oh, well, thanks for joining us again. Today, we are going to be talking about what might be the most popular episode of The Dead Files ever. At least that's what Google says. It's called Starvation Heights, Season 1, Episode 20, 21, depending on where you watch. And in the Dead Files Facebook group, fan group, somebody who worked on the show explained what the fuck was going on with Season 1, I mean. So I will tell you what he said. He said, his name is Bruce Greenspan. And he said, originally we did 8 episodes for Season 1. Then it was extended to 20. We originally considered that Season 1A and Season 1B as they happened at the same time, same year, or quote unquote season. A similar thing happened with Season 2. Those 4 groups of episodes, 1A, 1B, 2A, 2B, were ultimately renamed as Seasons 1, 2, 3, and 4. They totaled 45 episodes, if my memory's correct. Every season from then on were 13 episodes. So
that makes a lot of sense.
Hope that clears it right up for you.
Well, that actually does make a lot of sense though when you look at when the seasons aired. It's kind of like when Yellowstone now will do like half a season now and a half a season later. Mm-hmm. So I don't really watch Yellowstone, but a lot of times they're doing like half the season is being dropped in November and the other half in the summer or something like that. So I think Game of Thrones did that too.
Yeah, a lot of shows do that. And then the network will put a different show in the middle to try and grab the fans of that show that's taking a break. The mid-season replacement, they call it. But yeah. Anyway, this episode is super interesting and there's a lot to unpack. So we talked about doing a longer series on this one. I'm not sure that we're going to. I don't know that there's that enough to do a whole series, but we may revisit it in the future. We're thinking about maybe doing an episode on the actual crime that is involved or crimes, I should say. So that is what we have going on today. Megan, do you want to do the content warning? Can you
I would love to. So we're going to be talking about literal starvation. They do go in depth into like the physical things that happen, so that can be gruesome. So note that. And then not sure what else might come up, but check the show notes. As always, Amy will put anything we talk about that we don't give you a warning to and that we do in those show notes. So if you're worried or concerned, just make sure to check those ahead of time.
Yep. And as for housekeeping. The only things that I just want to remind everybody, if you're not a patron and you are thinking about becoming one, come on over before November 1st, as that is when it's going to go up for Apple users because Apple wants their share of the gains or whatever.
Apple's greedy.
So they're tacking on a fee. I don't remember what the percentage is, or maybe we don't even know. 3% maybe. So you want to get in before that. And then I think it's sometime before the beginning of next year, I'm going to get rid of the $1 tier. So the lowest tier will be $3, and then maybe it'll go up. I don't know. But so get in before November if you want to avoid the Apple fee.
Mhm.
And then also a reminder, our live show is coming up and we really need your stories.
Yes,
so
please.
we need stories to read because we are supposed to be doing this for 3 fucking hours. So, yeah.
Excuse me, what?
I was like, I don't see that we're going to be able to do 3 hours. And she said, well, because it's 12 to 3. And she said, well, that counts. That includes setup and tear down time. And I'm like, well, then why
so
are
an
we
extra
telling
15 minutes?
why are we telling
10 minutes, yeah.
people what to do? Yeah, I'm like, we're not going to do 3 hours. But anyway, so we need some stories because we need to fill some time. We are going to have a special guest, which I'm not going to announce quite yet because it's not 100% in stone.
Yes.
But
Plus, we like to give you guys teasers.
yeah, but we are going to have a guest that
Mhm.
will be speaking with us a little bit and also will be doing readings. That if you come, you can get a reading from.
We are very excited
This
for this
person.
guest.
Yes,
This is somebody that we very much enjoy.
that's right. I think that's it for. Do you guys have anything for housekeeping that you want to
Mm-mm.
bring up? No.
Nope.
Okay. Well, should we just get into it?
Let's
then?
get rolling.
Should we jump into it?
Let's jump right
Yeah.
in.
We're
An
just
hour
going
later?
to stick a toe in the cold end.
No, just jump off the diving board.
Jump right in. All right. So this is going to be the overview of the episode called Starvation Heights. This week, we're traveling to Olalla, Washington, about an hour outside of Seattle. We meet one of the few teenage clients of Amy and Steve. He's not really a teen. He's 18, which I guess is officially a
That is
teenager.
a teenage
Also
client.
officially an adult. So.
And to be just clear, Olalla is west of Seattle, not
Okay.
east. It's west.
Okay.
I looked it up.
Okay. I just said outside because I didn't know which way it was. Okay. So his name is Logan, this teen client, adult teen client. He lives in this home with his mom, Lori, and his dad, Shane. There are 2 homes on the property. One is the old house, and then there's the one that they built and live in now. Logan and some friends did a seance over at the old one, which he believes might have stirred up something. Under Steve's brutal interrogation, he learns that Logan wasn't exactly telling the truth about the number of seances, and we will discuss that in a bit too. We talk to Logan's dad, who has not had any experiences himself, but he tells Steve the story of Dr. Linda Hazzard, who did some horrible things to people, who's a past property owner.
Mhm.
We then meet Logan's mom, Lori, who doesn't believe that they're in any danger, but she has had some experiences that they never talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Steve then talks to several other people, including one of Logan's friends who attended at least one of the seances, and an author, Greg Olson, who tells a horrific tale of Wilderness Heights and how this doctor, Linda Hazzard, starved people to heal them. Steve also talks to a forensic pathologist who details for us the stages the body goes through when starving, and that is pretty hideous. We also hear from a legal expert who talks about what happened to Dr. Hazzard when she was caught. And I will say, spoiler alert, pretty much nothing. Meanwhile, Amy senses a lady whose face, particularly her mouth, is all messed up and she screams a lot. She also sees a lot of the victims. Amy has a sketch drawn of the angry woman, and then we're ready for the reveal. The reveal takes place at the old house, and it's just Logan and his dad present. Mom's not there. Amy talks about her walk and what she saw. Steve tells Amy about Dr. Hazzard and her deathly methods. Logan trembles in his boots, knowing that Amy will not be happy when she learns he conducted 17 seances total. Amy talks about the super angry woman who has it in for the woman of the house, Logan's mom, but Steve connects this to one of the sisters. They then show the sketch, and Amy says it's the woman who fell down the stairs, which we'll find out about. That would be one of the sisters, but the rest of the group decides it matches Dr. Hazzard. Amy explains why this could be happening, and that part's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Amy ultimately tells them they should tear the house down. I believe she actually says, tear this fucker down.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And that Logan should step out of the paranormal for now. And Steve says he should knock off this seance nonsense. Stay tuned to find out if the activity continues.
Fun fact about Olalla. It is 2 hours and 46 minutes from Forks. Also, Forks, Washington, the place where Twilight happens.
Oh, okay.
Never read or saw a single movie.
Your loss, because
Is
gems.
it though?
First of all,
I know.
do not besmirch the love that Edward and Bella feel as teenagers. Because if we know one thing, it is that teen love is forever.
That's right. That is.
Yeah,
totally
sure.
correct.
Okay.
How
So-
dare you?
How dare? How dare?
So we arrive in Olalla, Washington.
Yes.
2 hours from Forks.
Sounded like closer to 3.
You know what?
You know what?
Mhm.
I did notice, and I saw that who was writing in green.
Me.
Okay, I did see that it was when AP you said interesting. It was a teen write-in. I thought that too. I was like, this guy is young.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he
Which-
wasn't really that
which-
young as 18, but
Well, but I
That's
mean,
young.
comparatively to most people that we're seeing, we're not really seeing teenagers write in. However, it
You've seen
does give me that feeling that he's like, shit, I think I
Yes.
screwed up.
yeah,
I think I did
Oh, he
something. And I
knew.
think
He
I
knew.
screwed it up.
yeah, he knew.
Oh.
He knew what he did.
This whole family, in my opinion, was just saying enough to answer questions, but not enough to give actual like relative information.
Mm-hmm.
I
Okay.
felt like.
Okay, yeah, I can see that. My ears itching like crazy. Someone's trying to talk to me.
Can
I'm
you
busy.
talk to her another way? She can't hear you.
That's right.
Alan, she can't
Yeah.
hear you.
I know. One thing I noted that I thought was interesting is Amy opened in the car again. This is
Mhm.
early, of course,
Mhm.
like we said, season 1. Amy opened in the car as opposed to waiting until she got there.
Hmm.
Yeah, she did have some crazy facial expressions in
expressions.
this one. I did screenshot a whole bunch of them.
Good.
We'll put them in the socials because I thought it
Yeah,
was
because
pretty
there's
funny.
one that we're all thinking of, and she was like
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
at the beginning right away.
Yeah,
Ooh,
yeah.
yeah.
All right. What do we have else for that?
Oh, just kind of up at the beginning, well, when we're meeting with Logan,
mhm,
he talks about hearing so many voices and different things. And
mhm.
I talked about this in our sideshow, but you know, I'm like, I get a lot of those scenes. I don't necessarily hear people, but not all the time, but I'll close my eyes and I'll get flashes of
Mhm.
like people. Those sometimes they'll be coming at me. Sometimes I'm just observing a whole scene. Sometimes it's just one face. Sometimes it's whole bodies and it's crowds of people.
Mm.
But the incident was that I definitely heard something that was yelling for me about something, but it sounded similar to my mom, but it was not her. And I do not think it was a mimic. I do think that there was just somebody nearby that was like, been trying to get your attention. I don't know who.
Mhm. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But Logan just said he hears his name being called, and we get a little bit of like, you know, Logan just seems like a, you know, kind of nice kid to start off
Mhm.
with.
Start off with.
I think he is a nice kid. I think he got too curious and did
He
shit he
did.
shouldn't have done.
And
Yeah.
did shit with shit he didn't understand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He said right off the bat that he did seances, and I think I quoted, I was like, I think this is before Steve starts yelling at clients for doing seances
Yeah.
or Ouija boards or
And he didn't say he did seances. He said, I did a
A
a
seance.
seance. That's
Yeah.
right.
And out loud, I said, Logan,
Yeah.
you might as well just whip out a Ouija board for Pete's sake.
Mhm.
Pete's sake.
For Pete's sake. Oh gosh, with those seances. Yeah. And we'll learn as we talk to Logan. This is exactly what I mean when I say they withhold information, because the more we talk to him, the more and more information
But
comes
he's
out.
just as a typical teenage kid. I used to teach just barely older than him, and I've coached that age, and it is the same. Oh, I don't know. Well, I didn't do it.
I mean, I did a
Mhm.
seance.
well, okay, it was 5.
Yeah.
I-
It was
and then
it was 10.
I lost
it was
count.
I lost count. It was somewhere around 10. As soon as he said those bullshit words of,
Mhm.
well, I lost
I lost count. Yeah.
I was
Bull
like,
fucking
yes.
shit.
You
That is,
know.
there
Yep.
is no way you lost count. You know exactly how many
Mhm.
you did,
Well,
and
and
you know exactly what happened at each one of those that started to freak you out or make you more curious
yeah.
as to what was going on. And I
Yeah.
think I put that in the notes because I did a very good job not like scrolling forward to see what would happen.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. As soon as he said I lost count, I was like, okay, it's a lot.
Mhm.
It's not 4. It's not 5 or 6. It's a lot. If he says he lost count, whether
Yeah.
he did a lose count or not,
Yeah.
whatever.
And I
Yeah.
did notice part of the interview they did with him was in the old house.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
there was something, I couldn't make it out on the floor, but if
Oh, it
you
was
look,
a peace sign.
oh, see, I didn't know what, I
Peace
just
sign.
saw a white circle and I'm like, was that part of the seance or was that part of the house?
It was
'Cause
probably
I-
part of the seance,
It
but
was
it was a
probably
peace
part
sign.
of the seance. But yeah, oh, I didn't know. I didn't see, I just saw a white circle with some lines in the middle. And I'm like, that's never good to do.
Yeah. It looked a lot more sinister than
Yes.
being a peace sign. Because
Than
at
a
first you
peace
couldn't
sign.
tell what it was, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And Amy sees a lot of bodies on the ground, and she says that dead people are attracted to here.
Mhm.
It keeps them fixated. It's kind of like they're collecting the dead.
Yeah, as soon as she said collecting the dead, and I know it comes later on, I was like, I don't think it's just the dead here collecting the dead
Mhm.
unintentionally.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, for sure.
Hmm.
Don't mess with stuff you don't understand.
That's right.
Yeah.
I know. Kids, right?
Kids, these whippersnappers.
These little whippersnappers. Yeah. So, yeah, then we got to where the number keeps increasing, and turns out it was 17 seances that he
17.
cops to.
And
Yeah.
Steve had to ask him, like, are you sure? Let me get this straight. You did
Yeah, and
this
Steve gives
many?
him that look.
Yeah.
He's like, I can't help you if you're lying to
Honestly,
me.
guys, I think it's more than 17.
Oh, yeah.
Probably.
I think he just finally got to a number that Steve was like, okay, this feels more legit.
Yeah.
I would venture into the 20s because the look he still gave was
Yeah.
like someone kicked his puppy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He knew he probably knew enough to know that Amy would be pissed. I'm not saying
Yes.
he's seen an episode of the Dead Files because he probably
it's
hadn't at this
super
point. It
early.
probably hadn't
Yeah.
been out yet. But well, maybe it had. But so he probably thought he was in big troubles.
Well, yeah. So
So
it's like, he said, so Logan, let me get this straight. You did 10. And then Logan says somewhere around 10 to 15. And then
Yeah.
Steve goes, Logan, you told me 1. Then you told me 10. And I got you telling me you did 15. I can't help you unless you tell me the truth. What's the number? He goes 17. Which I agree with AP. There's no way it was just 17.
I don't think so.
I think he gave him, like AP said, a number that he thinks would appease him.
Yeah.
But that wasn't the real number.
That was close enough to the right number.
And because of the way that he turned around and, was like, well, yeah, I guess it was, I've done 17 seances. Like, he just made it sound like more. Yeah.
And this is what I tell my husband when he asks me how much things cost. I say, well, it was $20 because I'm not lying. It was $20, but it was $30 on top of that.
Yeah.
So it's not a lie. So he didn't lie when he said he's done 17.
True.
That might not just be the total.
He has done 17. He's also done 18 and 19 and
That's
40
the point.
and 50. Yeah.
Follow me for how to make your marriage work.
Just kidding. Oh, God.
Just
Okay.
kidding.
So then there's a good scene where Amy and Matt are walking around and she's talking about collecting the dead, and he asks her for clarification. And she said that something is inadvertently holding them there, and she says this is the thing that fucking pisses me off. And then she says, I get very angry when the living communicate with the dead for their own amusement. And
Yes.
she got really like I couldn't tell how much of that was her channeling somebody or just being like, these little fuckers, because she was making this face.
Yeah, I get that. I think that as they were cutting it, it looks like 2 parts there. But I think when she opens, she's not the same as when she's doing the reveal. Like she's in a different mindset. So kind of like, when we all have to put our different hats on for different things, you got to be on for certain things. Like I see her as being on in this, and that's why she's like doing this. So I think the first part of that was her being upset. And then I think that there was a like when she starts like really getting into some other parts, because it almost sounds like her voice changes a little bit, like she's channeling somebody. So I think that there's a combination in that high emotional state.
Yeah.
Probably also allows for that a quick change.
Yeah. Well, and like she said, I think it was when I thought she flipped is when she said, about this shit, I'm fucking sick of it. I'm disgusted. And that didn't really sound like Amy to me. I think that might have been somebody that she was, and that she said, it's not a fucking game.
Yeah.
They should tear this fucker down.
Sick of it. I'm disgusted. Disgusted. It's not a game. They should just tear this down.
She dropped a lot of F words.
She did.
In this
She was
one.
pissed.
She was
And
mad.
seeing the tearing it down, I feel like that could be that the people who are trapped there that are like, you've got to get rid of this so we can go.
So we can leave. Yeah.
Yeah. That's so weird that they're stuck to the house though, and that tearing it down or burning it down or anything would release them.
But it feels like it's almost like they're chained to it.
Mm-hmm.
So like, well, you've watched
Why
the
wouldn't
show.
they? Why wouldn't they
but
just
you've
be
watched the
chained
show
to the
Ghosts.
land?
But you've watched the show Ghosts too.
Yeah.
And they can, only go so
They just
for
can't
certain
leave.
parts.
But they can't leave the property. If the house burned down, don't you think they'd still be stuck there on the property?
Potentially, yeah.
I mean, that's because we see that a lot.
But I think because the damage was done so much in the house.
Yeah.
Because even like in the show Ghosts, you've got the tertiary characters that live off in a barn or a shed somewhere.
Yeah.
In a different part of the property, and they don't really come in to that area. You've got the basement people that stay in their areas.
Plague people, yeah.
Well, it's cholera in the U.S. one, so.
Oh, yeah. I haven't seen too much of the U.S. one. I've seen all of the British one, but I think I've only seen the first season of the.
Yeah, and I'm flopped of
American one.
that, so.
I haven't seen any.
Oh, it's good. You should watch it.
I know. I know.
It's
I
funny.
should. It's
Both
will
ones
love
are
it.
good, and
It's
just
not, they are both good.
Yeah.
They're different, but they're good. Both good.
Mhm.
Okay. So, we all had noted that she's really pissed and she's
Yeah.
gonna yell
She
at him.
is. Yeah.
And what else? Anybody have anything in that section there?
we didn't have
before
a lot about with Logan's dad.
Yeah.
No,
Okay. Let's talk
we
about
didn't.
Logan's dad. We meet Shane, his dad.
Yeah, there wasn't
Yeah.
a lot with him. He
There-
did start talking about Dr. Hazzard, and that was pretty like, come on, you know more than you're letting on, though, dude. Like, there's no way you haven't researched if you found out that you were living in the Wilderness Heights area.
That's exactly my point. They're only answering enough to appease Steve. They're not giving the full story.
Yeah, he said, "Oh, she's done some pretty terrible things." I'm like, she was insane and greedy and murdered people.
Yeah.
And I said, "Oh, goody! I can't wait to hear about this because it's just, yeah,
Yeah.
she
Yeah,
was
she was awful.
She was awful.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then he talks about how they built the house and they wanted to incorporate some of the old house, and I'm like, construction
I didn't like
and
that feeling.
seances.
Yep.
Like, what's next? A portal? Like
Yeah.
what? And incorporating old into the new, you're asking to be haunted. I'm sorry, but you're especially if he knows what Dr. Lazard did in that house. And now
Linda
you're gonna-
Hazzard, honey. Linda
Sorry.
Hazard. Lazard is he was a
What did I
football player.
say?
You said Lazard.
Oh, Dr. Hazard. See, you
Hazard.
guys, I was so
Linda Hazard.
impassioned. I
It's okay.
completely changed the
Sometimes-
name.
Sometimes the words just spill right out. It's okay.
They do. But yes,
yeah.
the point is you're asking. I mean, I'm not saying it was their fault because it was, but not because of this. But just
Yeah.
don't. Yeah.
Yeah,
and-
when you take stuff from a place that has trauma and bad energy and shit like that, don't expect that you can put it in your house and everything's going to be hunky dory.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Do some cleansing ritual or something just to make sure that anything that was attached to it is able to be freed.
And to be fair, like can see that aspect of like, it's a well-made, it's beautiful. We lived in this house previously. We really enjoy, like, we want to have some of that old bones feeling. So there's nothing, to me, there's nothing wrong with that, because there are people that you see something that you're like, well, this was well made. But you do have to be aware that if you have people that are sensitive in your life, that there could be some unintentional consequences of that. And he does say that he's pretty skeptical, but there certainly is something going on that's affecting my family. I'm like, okay, at least he's acknowledging that.
Yeah.
And he does.
I did like that he was like, I know I don't have any personal experiences, but I do believe them.
Yes.
I believe my son.
And he did seem shocked that Logan had conducted 17 seances.
He said, I had no idea it was that many. And I believe the dad, I think.
I do too.
Yeah.
I do believe the dad. I don't, The dad is kind of an innocent bystander in all this, in my opinion.
Yeah, he probably is.
I mean, Logan's innocent too. He's a
kid. Yeah.
He's a kid. He was doing something he shouldn't have been doing.
He was doing all these
the things you see in movies.
He probably started doing these years ago. He didn't do them all this year, I don't think.
No.
So he was a little, much younger kid
probably
when he started doing all this.
Yeah. If only his dad had written a book about it. We can't get through an episode.
To have some copies.
We can't go through an episode without referencing it. I'm sorry. It's tradition.
Poor Brittany.
It's tradition.
I mean, not really, but
no.
Megan, you mentioned Amy's expressions in the part where she's going through.
So we're back with Amy now, and she's talking about there's somebody here, a female screaming, and her expressions in this episode overall are top tier. Like she is a very expressive person to begin with, but in this episode it's like over the top. But right in this scene, they are so creepy because she's like tilting her head and her eyes are like super wide open. And I agree with what Amy said. It doesn't look like her in that area, in that incident. Like it is not Amy there. So it just really like freaked me out when I was watching this episode. And she's like, it was just eerie.
Yeah. Greg has walked in when I've been watching before, and he's like, she's weird. And I'm like, she's goofy, first of all, just her personality is kind of goofy, but she's got somebody else in her body making her make those faces.
Well, he doesn't believe that. So
no, he doesn't believe that.
Skeptic.
That's okay. I got him a birthday card that said I know I showed it to you guys, but it said, Bigfoot would like to wish you a happy birthday. And it's a picture, cartoon of Bigfoot on the front. And inside it says, just kidding. He doesn't believe in you.
Did he laugh?
Yeah, he did. He goes, nice. And nice. I noted the banister. AP and I were messaging about this banister. We did because Megan, we didn't think you'd seen it yet. So we didn't want to.
It's fair.
Yeah. So we didn't want to spoil anything for you. But the banister, there's one portion.
It's the old house.
Where it's cut off. And it looks like some kind of like fun house because it looks spooky. And I thought that the part I was looking at was in the new house and that they had pulled it from the old house. But AP looked at it a little closer, and you think, right, that it came, that what we were looking at was the old house.
So
they had cut off part of it and taken it over to the new house.
So there is another scene later on. And this is where I think about, they took the end of the banister. So the end cap, so not the whole railing.
What do they call that? The, shit. I used to know the name of that. We used to have those in our old house.
The big ball thing.
Yeah.
But they took the big part of that comes down just for the bottom part of their stairs in the new house. Because you can see it. Because if you look at the wood on this, and then Amy, I sent you a picture of, I took just a picture of that. It's the same wood, which explains why there's such a sharp cut right where I'm looking at the picture on my phone here.
Too. Yeah.
And that explains why there's such a sharp cut right there, because they cut it so that it would fit exactly to where they just need to trim a little bit for the wall.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
where they ended up putting this, if you look at it, this is the railings on as you're coming down the stairs would be on the left-hand side. And I believe where they put the banister railing in the new house, you're coming down on the right-hand side
Mm-hmm.
because it's like the curve coming around the bottom of the stairs.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, it's weird. And there's a point where Steve is walking up the stairs and he looks at it. He's like, "Oh, it's like just cut off." He doesn't say anything,
Mm-hmm.
but he does notice it.
Yeah, it's a bit of a hazard there to leave. I think it's like 3 or 4 stairs with no railing.
Yeah. But
That
I don't
makes
think they'd
sense.
figure anybody's over there except ghosts.
And the kids
And
doing their
the kids doing
And
the
the kids.
seance.
But they're not going up and down the stairs. They're just doing the
Probably
seances.
not. I would hope not. All right. We all had some notes about Lori.
Oh, God.
She says, I've had experiences. Yeah. And then she doesn't ever say what they
Yeah.
are.
No.
Maybe it was cut.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good. It's a good.
Because, yeah, Steve just goes right in and is like, oh, okay, so do you think
So
we
do you
could
think
hurt
it's-
ya? Or
Yeah. And then
what?
she says no. She doesn't think that they're actually in danger.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I said she's withholding things, like answering his questions, but not like all at once. And I said, I wonder where Logan gets it from. She also strikes me as the type, and I think AP said something similar, as she's the type that would say, well, boys will be boys.
Mm,
That's exactly the vibe that I got. Well,
Fucking hate that.
you know,
yeah.
it was more like, well, kids, they're just kids. I mean, they're gonna do dumb kid stuff. So
Mhm.
it's it was either that or it's like, well, kids will create their own hysteria. Like if they
Yeah.
get freaked
Mhm.
out,
Yes.
that they'll just look at somebody else
Feed
and be
at
like, were
each
you
other.
freaked out?
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
yeah.
She seems disconnected to me. Or
Yeah.
maybe denial.
Yeah.
But she wasn't my favorite character or person in this.
Character.
She wasn't my favorite character. I didn't like how they developed
she
her.
played the mom in this one.
She was the mom, yeah. I don't like the casting for it.
Yeah. All right. So we're in the new house with Amy. She says that the angry woman with the broken face is out for blood. She's plotting against a woman who lives in the house. She wants to do it the same way. She wants to execute this plan. She wants to do it the same way that she did herself. And I said, so like suicide, does that mean
Mhm.
she threw herself down the stairs?
That's what it sounded like.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
The same
Yeah.
way she did it herself. Like she made it sound like suicide.
Yeah. Yeah.
It'll make it easier without the railing and parts of
Yeah.
Mhm.
the old house.
Yeah.
When we get into section 2 here, where Steve starts digging through things,
Mhm.
they're showing the car driving, but they have the camera on the ground looking up at the newspaper and mailboxes,
Oh.
but it was just the newspaper bins.
Mm.
And
I didn't
so,
notice that.
it's just such an odd choice because it wasn't like super scenic or like anything else. It was kind of just aimed towards the newspaper boxes and then having the car driving down the road past.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was somebody's creative licensing.
Yeah. Someone
Yeah.
trying to be.
Trying to be artistic.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
The first thing I noted was the mountain in the background is fucking stunning. Like
That's why I looked
Oh.
up where Olala is, and
Yeah.
it's Green Mountain might be the mountain there
oh my
in the
God.
Cascade in the
Beautiful.
Cascade Range.
Yeah. It's really
Beautiful.
pretty. I did a little.
Oh my God.
I did a little research trying to find the house,
Uh-huh.
and because I wanted to see if the other house was torn down.
Mhm.
And so I was Google mapping and trying to find where the Hazzard house was and if it was still there. And I found the street that I think it's the street that it's on. And I was Google walking up and down the street, and it's really pretty. It's very green. It's very
Yeah.
lush. It's just a really beautiful area.
Yeah.
I would not want to live there. It would freak me out because nothing is nearby.
Yeah.
But it's really beautiful.
I mean, I will say in the Twilight movies, it is very pretty there.
Yeah.
You should
I
watch
did
them.
see. I did see. I saw them with riff tracks. The only way to do it.
Oh my God. Okay, now I gotta find those and watch it because
Mhm.
that would be delightful.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll have
Anyways,
to do that. Okay.
so now
So
we're
we talked to
talking.
Mariah that there wasn't that much there. She's the one
No.
that she was shaken during one of the seances,
not
and she
stirred.
talks about it. Not stirred. Megan, Steve thought that there was someone playing a joke on her And Megan
Mhm.
wondered if there was a dog there.
I just wondered
I just wondered.
if maybe the dog shook her.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe
Yeah.
she was on something.
Maybe
Yeah.
she was boozing.
Yep.
Yeah, maybe she was.
You're boozing.
You're boozing.
She was boozing with the dog.
Yeah.
And with her medication that obviously causes
Yes,
hallucinations.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
You
right,
on
right,
any
right.
All together.
medication? Yeah.
Smoking something?
Smoking? You boozing?
She
was
did
having
say
a good old time.
she did say that she had to be like she doesn't remember being carried out, but people had to carry her out of there.
Mhm.
I don't know. It was just such a weird way she was describing things. Like she was told by somebody to only give part of the story because
Mhm.
she didn't have a lot of
yeah.
emotion behind it.
Yeah.
Again,
She could also have
be
been
that it was
nervous
in the-
being on TV.
Exactly.
And she maybe said more and they cut it, or they said, don't say that or something while she was, and then she got
Right.
nervous while she was,
Mhm.
who knows? Who
Yeah.
knows what's going on? I wish somebody that was on the set would
And
be able to tell us.
And then he was like, "Are you going to go back?" She's like, "No, never." I'm like, "You've been to 17 seances already?"
Yeah. She's like, but that 18th, that
She
is
might
where I
not-
draw the line.
She may not have been to all of them.
She
That's
may
true.
not have been to all of them. She may have been to the first one, and
Yeah.
and that scared her, and she never went back.
One thing I
She's
wondered
smart, Mariah.
is when she was talking about what happened and she blacked out and fell to the ground. I almost wondered if that could have been some sort of a seizure.
Could have been. Yeah.
You know, she said they picked me up. I don't remember walking. They carried me outside. So just
Mhm.
wondering, could that have been some sort of,
Yeah.
Seizure or something?
Could have been.
Because they're not all, most seizures aren't like the shaking kind that you
The
Right.
grand mal.
Right.
grandma.
I knew
Yeah.
somebody who had seizures that you couldn't even tell.
Yeah, they just
She
stare.
would just like her eyes would just sort of go funny
Mm-hmm.
and she would stare off into space.
Mhm.
And we just thought she was daydreaming or something.
Yeah.
And she was having seizures.
So, especially if you're in a seance and that happens,
yeah.
people might think that you're just, being overcome by a spirit or something.
Yep.
So I don't know. It just crossed my mind that
Yep.
it could have been a seizure.
I thought it was weird when Amy and Matt are walking around and she's just walking around and kind of feeling stuff. And he goes, stop, wait, careful.
Mhm.
And it's because she was about to walk off this piece of flooring that
Mhm.
just went off into like dirt.
Yeah, it was like if somebody took a patio off of the back porch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she was like, well, that's weird. I thought it went further back. And she's like, I'm seeing a room here. So I'm guessing there was a room there. And that's what she was seeing because she was,
Yeah.
connecting
Mhm.
with she's connecting with Dr. Linda or she's connecting with some of the victims.
Mhm.
Could be both, could be neither, but probably both.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought that was and she said it's kind of like a vortex, as
Yeah.
Megan mentioned. What next? Portals? Yeah.
Oh, see?
See? There you go.
Yeah.
All right. Then
Yeah.
we talked to
Well, she
Wait.
did say that somebody may have opened a dangerous gateway. So she
Mhm,
also, so there may have been something there, or it could have been another person that came
Mhm.
through this and it
Mhm.
was like they were projecting their house.
Mhm.
So there's a lot
Hmm.
of different things, but
Yeah.
the way that it was built too, and the way that they, they built their own house with their own two hands.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
It
with the
maybe
really
they
camera
took
and
see-
everything.
maybe they took a part of the house too. Who knows?
I can't really see Lori up there with spackle and a hammer.
Maybe.
I've been wrong before 5 times and
Just 5.
just
Ever.
5. Also, if you're watching this episode and you want to play a drinking game,
Oh,
you could drink every time you see a ring shot because there were a lot of them in this episode.
You would be shit-faced.
Well, don't chug it, but take a little nice dainty sip of your wine or whatever you're
Yeah.
drinking.
There were a lot of ring
There
shots.
were a lot of ring shots,
If
but
you're
it was
gonna do a
season
party,
1.
Yeah, it was. It was. And
Yeah.
I noticed in the reveal, he's got 2 rings. He's got 1 on each hand. So I can see why they got to kind of double it up a little bit.
Yeah, they got to showcase them all.
They gotta
One's
show-
gotta
probably his
collect-
high school ring.
Oh, yeah, or
it could be.
college.
It could be. Yeah, could be. I don't know.
I was being facetious,
Oh,
but
we went with it. We were like, yeah, that's true.
I'm
yeah.
not going to tell you you're wrong.
Yeah.
I don't know. So then we meet
I
Greg-
believe everything. So
Yeah,
I mean,
that's true. We meet Greg Olson. He's the author. He wrote a book about Starvation Heights. I actually read one of his books. came to me in like that Kindle thing where you get a free book every
Was it good?
month. I remember liking it. I went back and looked at, like I found it on Amazon. I went back and looked. I don't honestly remember the book that well, but when I saw his name, I was like, I read a book by him. So I remembered that much of it anyway.
Good job.
I recognize his name as a tight end football player.
Oh, okay.
Sure. Probably not the same guy.
No,
Probably not. No. So this guy shows us a picture of Dr. Linda Hazzard and talks about how she built this sort of like a health farm sort of thing to help people
health retreat.
To starve people back to health. That was how she thought she was going to cure everybody.
She'll take you down to skin and bones, then she'll build you back up to perfect health, basically starving you. And I just said, thanks, Captain Obvious.
Oh, wow. Is that what starving is? Thank you.
Is that what's bringing you down to skin and bones? Like literally is?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and all they got was asparagus water.
To which I said, I bet their pee was rancid.
Oh,
but fun fact, only a handful of it. It's only like a third of the population can actually smell asparagus in your urine.
Oh, I can. Greg can too.
Yeah.
It's every time we have asparagus, we're like, oh, it's going to stink in the bathroom tomorrow.
It seems like more of us should be able to, but apparently not as many people. Coffee and apple cider as well.
Oh, I get coffee.
I smell
apple cider. I don't drink
both of those.
I wouldn't know.
Fairly quickly. Yep.
Oh, every time I drink, like not just like decaf, it must be the caffeine for me anyway. Because when I drink an iced decaf coffee every single morning and I don't smell it. But if I have real coffee, hot, caffeinated coffee, my pee smells like coffee.
It's not every in a coffee that I smell, but yeah.
Yep.
I've never noticed that.
I have coffee.
I mean, I have coffee every day, 2 cups.
It's probably not, doesn't do that to you then. You'd notice.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would notice.
Okay. Then I don't notice it. So it must not be me.
And also, fun fact, asparagus are, once they're an established plant, they come back, but you can't eat them the first year that you're growing them.
Why?
Are they poisonous or are they too small?
Are they not good?
She froze.
Oh, we'll never know.
Dad, release AP.
Yeah.
I think there's something in there that's more toxic.
Oh,
okay.
Got it.
Oh, yeah, no, something that's just more toxic.
Okay.
And I'm plugged into the wall outlet, so.
Weird.
Just
Okie dokie.
See?
Well, the spirits are probably going, it's 8:30. Move this fucker along.
Yeah. Listen,
We're only 20 minutes into the show, so we could probably skip ahead.
Yeah.
I just didn't want to skip over anything that you guys, like any of your comments or jokes or whatever.
Nope. All our listen, you can skip over our jokes because we'll just make more.
no.
Yeah.
I did think it was really funny when you guys both commented on this, so I didn't comment on it. But Steve's tapping the banister.
I will say,
and he was like,
we did see like.
What?
Oh, did she freeze again?
No,
Alan,
her eyes are moving. What is going on?
Amy.
I'm here. I started
Okay.
talking a while ago, but then Megan cut me off. So
Oh,
we couldn't hear you.
Okay.
You were
I didn't
frozen.
hear you.
So
Yeah.
when Megan started talking, you were not talking to us.
I was, but you couldn't hear me.
No, and you were frozen. So your face wasn't moving or anything.
There's nothing I can do.
No, I know. It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So what should we go back? What were you talking about, AP?
I'm like on a 10-second delay with you guys.
Oh yeah. That's weird.
That is weird. So what did you want to say? Or what were you saying?
Just with the number of people that died between the 20 and 40, it's like reform schools or asylums. Like, yeah, they don't have a current number or correct number because half of those people never were there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that makes sense. I didn't even think about that. And then I read your comment and I was like, oh yeah. Because they didn't want to.
They just checked themselves out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Or disappeared.
Or they don't want to admit their sister got admitted. Yeah.
Mhm.
Or whatever.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Megan, what were you talking about when you said we both talked about something?
The janky banister where he's like
Oh.
tapping it and it kind of jiggles.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I didn't comment on it, but I was like, because you see him, he's like, he even makes kind of a face where he's like,
yeah, I did a screenshot of that.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
So we don't have to go into all the different things about starvation because it's really hideous.
It's bad.
I don't think we need to do that. But we should mention, because it comes up in the reveal, there were two famous patients, Claire and Dora Williamson. They were spinsters from England that had a lot of money, and they came there for the treatments, and one of them was starved to death. One of them died, and the other one she was rescued or whatever.
Yeah, she was saved. It was really bad. So they show a picture of what she looks like so it was Claire. Refeeding syndrome is important, is what AP said. She said she's going to be on mute.
Oh, okay.
Can you hear me right now?
Yes.
Okay, so I just really want to jump in. I know we didn't want to talk a lot about starvation, but refeeding syndrome is when you feed people too quickly back from the brink of starvation.
Really?
And that is literally why, if you've ever watched Band of Brothers, they are told when they get to the concentration camps, they are told not to feed the survivors because they will literally kill themselves by eating too quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yes. So that's where, when we get to seeing how devastated some of these people have been, is they can't even feed them milk or anything dairy product because there's a malabsorption in that. And so their bodies can't handle it, and it can basically kill them.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
How?
Because your body is so broken down that it was eating itself.
Yeah, they did mention that. Wow.
And
and so it can't comprehend or can't manage.
I had no idea.
That makes sense because when a friend of mine, I'm not going to say her name, when she had surgery to have like most of her stomach removed to lose weight, she developed a not allergy but intolerance to anything dairy. She couldn't have dairy anymore.
Really? So sad.
She still can't.
Even cheese?
Nothing.
Sad.
I know. I can't imagine. That'd be awful.
Oh my God, I literally will eat just like a handful of cheese.
I know. Me too.
That'd be terrible.
So yeah, when this one died, she weighed 38 pounds.
No, when she was rescued, she weighed 38 pounds.
Oh, she's the one that lived? Dora?
Yes.
Talked. Okay.
So Clara is the one who
Claire's
died.
the one that died.
Dora lived. So Dr. Hazzard.
And the picture of the regular and then skinny, which one was that? Was that Dora or Claire?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
That was Dora.
That was Claire. Okay.
Because Claire died, and Dr. Hazzard. Why do I keep wanting to say Lazard? I don't know.
Because it's spelled Hazzard.
Yes.
So you would think maybe it was Hazzard.
Yeah.
But
Dr. Hazzard.
They all said Hazzard.
Lazard was a Green Bay Packer.
That's why. Go Packers. Claire. So Dr. Hazzard did her own autopsies, which even helped cover up what she was doing because she marked down that Claire had died of cirrhosis of the liver.
Yeah. And as it turns out, I did some extra little digging, and Dr. Lazard was not a doctor. She just called herself Hazzard.
See, now you're doing it.
Now I'm doing it.
Rubbing off on you.
Yeah.
No, of course she wasn't a doctor.
Yeah, she was.
You could just put a sign on your door and say, "I'm a doctor," and they'd be like, "Oh my God, hey, doctor."
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so what else? We go, I just noted we were talking about the staircases, we got all into that.
Mhm.
And there's talking about the woman that fell down the stairs. They showed one staircase, and then they showed a different staircase. Like one of them looked like a back staircase.
Yes.
And then the other one was like the open staircase where that goofy banister was.
Mhm.
I don't know which staircase they fell down.
I would assume the one with the goofy banister, because in my mind, I think the one that looked like the back, that's in the new house, and the goofy banister is the old house. So I would assume the old house is the one that they fell down. They were showing a lot of staircases in this one.
They were, and if they took part of the banister from the old house and put it in the new house, then there is a banister in the new house that has, a staircase in a staircase in the new house that has that banister. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Getting
I
close
think
to my bedtime.
that banister is at the bottom of the weird looking enclosed hallway stairs,
Oh.
So it's enclosed in the beginning part or the top, and then
which is why, yeah, because it comes down and goes around a corner, and the banister is down around that corner.
Okay.
That's why it's
Okay.
only like 4 steps worth of
Yeah.
banister.
Okay. That makes
That
sense.
makes so much sense.
Okay.
God, AP, this is why we have you, because you're like, actually, you're an idiot, and this is why. You never say we're idiots. No, you never say that.
No.
No, I
AP's
think my
"Here's
internet keeps
logic."
cutting out because we've had several times in the last few days where we just get a flash of power goes out,
Oh, like a
Oh.
little
or like a
brownout.
flash. Yeah.
Like a
And
what?
then comes back on. And it's done that like
Brownout.
5 or 6 times.
Yeah.
What's a
That's what
brownout?
it seems like is happening. Brownout, it's not quite a blackout because it just goes out for a
Oh.
second, comes back.
Oh, I have never. You guys, I am.
And I
learning
know-
so
You're learning a
much
lot
tonight.
today.
Ours
Oh,
ours went out at 12:35 last night because I have an overhead fan, and if the light flashes out, light turns on basically if the power
Oh.
comes back on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fun.
So it wakes me up.
Yeah, that must be
it's
what's
terrible.
happening. That must be what's happening. Okay, so let's just try and wrap this up then.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Let's skip
anything
over the
else?
forensic pathologist because
Yeah.
all he does is talk about like what happens when you get starved. I will say, one thing he talked about was that gets brought up in the reveal, is when you in the end you actually will asphyxiate because the muscles in your throat
Mhm.
stop working, and so you can't breathe, and so that comes up in the reveal because Amy says she feels like she's drowning,
Mhm.
but then she's like she does a voiceover and she says, I've never felt anything like it. It's almost like drowning but without the water.
Mhm.
But other than that, we won't talk about it because it's real gruesome.
Yeah, it's real gruesome. Yeah. All right. So how much should we get? Legal expert. Okay, the legal expert, this is where we find out that she died of her own treatment.
Irony.
Yeah. And so of starvation. And let's see. Where's the part where it says that nothing happened to her? A jury convicted her of second-degree murder, and the reason they couldn't find her guilty of first-degree murder is that they did not find that it was premeditated. And we were all like, what the fuck? She lured people there to kill them. Of course it was premeditated.
She literally starved them. It's almost like, what is that called? There's a term for it when
It's Munchausen.
No, not well.
But she was considered a doctor, so even if she wasn't actually a doctor, she was considered like she was trying to help them, and they just passed away in her care, kind of thing.
Mhm.
But what's it called when you make people sick? Oh, I'm sorry, AP.
Years of hindsight.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you make people sick, that is Munchausen.
Yeah, so we had that 100 years. Yep.
No, but there's something like when doctors make people sick and then heal them.
Oh.
It's like a superhero complex or something, or a hero complex. That's almost what it seems like here, is that she's making them sick.
Hero complex.
Yes. Ooh, my screen just flashed. Whoa.
What is going on?
Alan.
I know, mine's fine.
My screen just jiggled. It's never done. My screen has never done anything when we've recorded ever.
That's bizarre. I even lit incense and did the whole.
Yeah.
Mm.
So anyways, yes.
Anyway.
That's a good point, AP. Like, yeah, she's a doctor. So people are like, oh, well, she just happened to die in her care.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So then Amy has a sketch done. She says, I'm going to have the sketch done of the lady that I met, which this is still up in the air who that is.
Yeah.
So now we're on to segment 3, the reveal.
The reveal.
And we all thought it was interesting that mom wasn't there. It was just Logan and dad.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I had noted that Logan is terrified that Amy's about to learn. You can see they keep showing him, and he's just like his lip looked like it's shaking.
And he kept somebody noted this. I think it might have been AP, noted in the comments he kept wringing his hands, and his hands were very like tight together.
Yeah.
Because he knows he done fucked up.
Yeah. Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
And this is where they do the flashback to Amy, and she says that they should tear this fucker down. And Logan explains what's going on. Yeah, they did do the reveal in the old house, which was an interesting choice. I thought.
Yeah, I thought too, because I could see. Yeah, I don't know why they did it in the old house.
Yeah.
But they didn't ask me, so.
AP noted that Amy looks gorgeous in the reveal. Her hair is up and wearing his earrings.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is very. It's like almost a very sophisticated, like French twisty thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we don't have to go too much in the reveal, but we're talking about how who this person could be that Amy saw. They do show us pictures of the sisters and Dora. Dora is one of the sisters. They show us the pictures like we were talking about before she went into the spa or whatever the fuck they call it. And after, when she was 38 pounds.
She was 130 when she went in.
Yeah.
So she lost 100 pounds.
Almost 100 pounds. Yeah. That's pretty
over
bad.
100 pounds.
Yeah.
No, almost 100. You guys' math is hard.
There was one point where Steve was talking about how she called herself a doctor and blah, blah, blah. And Amy goes,
she called herself a doctor.
She was a freaking psycho murderer, is what she was.
Yes.
Yes, she was. Then we see the sketch, which just looks like a regular, Victorian sort of lady. And Amy says that she sketched the person who fell down the stairs, but which Steve says sounds like the sister, but he thinks the sketch looks like Dr. Hazzard. And they show the two. I think it does look like Dr. I don't think it really looks like any of them, but I think it looks more like
Dr. Hazzard.
But I don't know. The nose, the mouth is right.
Also,
eyes maybe.
Yeah, I just want to note that in the picture, the picture that they show had 3 people in it.
Yeah.
And I did a search, and it's the 2 sisters and Dr. Hazzard.
Oh, it is Dr. Hazzard. Okay.
So I believe Dr. Hazzard is in the middle, and the 2 sisters are flanking her.
Because my note was, here's a picture of 3 people. We aren't going to tell you who the third person is.
Yeah,
because they never did say that.
No, it's when you do a search for Claire and Dora Williamson, this picture pops up, and it's Dr. Hazzard with the 2.
I did that too, but I didn't see that. It said it was her. I must have found a different page than you did.
It's the cover of a book.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. So then, they agree or disagree about who that picture is. Steve tells Amy that Logan conducted 17 seances, and then Amy goes into, you have to understand why you're doing things like this. That really puts people in physical pain, these spirits and stuff, which I find interesting that they would be in physical pain when they don't have physical bodies. But that I don't know that.
Maybe they're remembering.
Ask Amy when we interview her.
Yes. Maybe they're
Purgatory.
remembering. Oh, yeah.
That's what I think of. Purgatory.
Yeah, but is that physical pain?
Could be. We don't know.
Yeah,
right. There's only one way to find out.
I've never been there that I know of.
I thought it was maybe they were remembering their physical.
Yeah,
their physical
it could
pain.
be. It could be more of a memory thing or a. I mean,
Or
because a
stuck
lot
in
of
a loop.
a lot of pain is a lot of physical pain can be overcome with your brain. You know, like my cousin had really, really bad back problems, and she had a little device that they put on her back, and it would stop the pain signals to the brain. So her brain never knew that she was in pain because it stopped the signals of pain. So I suppose I didn't think about that until just now, but that could be it. Okay.
Yeah.
So, let's see. She's a murderer.
AP says you only know pain because of the nerve endings in your body. And the nerve endings are sending the signal up to your brain.
So it is your brain that is feeling the pain.
And I inserted that last part by myself. She didn't tell me that.
Okay.
I knew that. AP says it doesn't actually exist at the site in theory. So it's your brain telling you, your arm hurts. The pain isn't at your arm.
Yeah.
Gosh, you guys, this is our medical podcast.
This is very interesting. I know.
I'm learning so much. My diary is going to be filled tonight.
Oh my gosh, you better start writing pretty soon. We better get off. Start writing.
It's 8:52. It is almost my bedtime.
Oh my God. I have 8 minutes. Okay. Oh, I just want to note that when Amy finds out that they are taking stuff from the old house and putting it in the new, she just puts her hand on her head and goes,
it was very good.
Yeah, I like that. Okay. And then so let's just go down. Yeah, he says she tells him to tear down the house. She tells Logan to cut the shit with the seances. Steve asks if they're going to do it. And Shane says, well, I'm going to tear it down for sure. It's definitely coming down. And I noted, right after we talked to Zach Bagans, but I double checked and this place was not on Ghost Adventures that I could find. And AP noted, I mean, I'll do it at some point when I'm done with it. Which is,
he didn't say, I'm going to tear it down right away.
Right away.
It's definitely coming down.
Yeah.
Like AP said, when I'm done with it.
Yeah. When I feel like it. I will say, I do think that it has come down because I did find what I think is the property. And I think that it is down. So the follow-up is just a screen that says Logan has stopped conducting seances since the investigation. It doesn't say the activity continues. The activity doesn't continue. It doesn't. Yeah. So
we don't know.
Yeah, we don't know. We don't know.
So I thought overall this was a good episode. I don't see why it's the most watched.
I don't really either.
In my opinion, there are other episodes that are way better than this one.
I agree.
But it was still good.
Yeah, it was good.
AP is nodding.
You could talk. It's just that you might be a little late. But do you want to do you're up for the ending? Do you want to do that? No. Okay. We have to wait 10 seconds for her to answer because she's on a delay. Storm delay, we'll call it. Okay. Megan, do you want to do it?
Sure.
Since I talked a lot.
Sure.
Okay.
Next week. Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay. Go ahead.
Thanks everyone for joining us. Next week, we will be releasing a sideshow and we're not sure what we're going to talk about. So stay tuned.
Yep.
Thanks you for coming and listening. Thanks for joining us. AP
Amy's
shrugging. AP says thank you with her eyes because she's having some technical difficulties. And so she's been cutting in and out. Yeah. And we miss her.
She's on waving. Storm delay. She's waving.
She's doing a very parade wave.
You guys are going to have to watch the video.
Yeah.
Sorry if you listened to this all the way to the end. Now you're going to have to go back and watch the video tomorrow.
Damn it.
That's all right.
You gotta watch it. Listen, you get us double the fun.
Double the fun.
All right. Thanks everybody. Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Activity Continues podcast. We really appreciate you giving us your ears for a bit. Please feel free to drop us a note and say hi. And join us next time when the activity continues.
Nailed it.